Patris et Filii Spiritus Sancti, amen. Intro in quod altare Dei. Iudicame Deus, per causa mea, gente non santa, abomine iniquo e colosso et evite lucem tuam et veritatem tuam, ipsam et luxerum et ad luxerum, dimonte sanctum tuum et in tabernacula tua. Confite voli incitara Deus, Deus meus, quare tristis est anima mea, et quare conturbas meam. Gloria Patri et Filio Spiritui Sancto. Intro iguo altare Dei. Adiutorium nostrum in nomine Domini. Confitio Deo Omnipotenti, Beate Maria sempre Virgine, Beato Michele Arcangelo, Beato Giovanni Battiste, Sanctis Apostolis Petro et Paolo, Omnibus Sanctis Vobis, Fratres, quia peccabilis cogitatione verbo et opere, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. Ideo precor Beatum Mariam sempre Virginem, Beatum Michaelem Arcangelum, Beatum Giovanni Battista, Sanctus Apostolos Petro et Paolo, omnes santos et vos fratres, orare pro mea Dominum Deum nostrum. Amen.
Configure Deo Omnipotenti, Beatum Maria sempre Virgine, Beatum Michaele Arcangelo, Beatum Battiste, Sanctis Apostolos Petro et Paolo, omnibus Sanctis Activi Pater, Sicut ad minimis cogitatione verbo et opere, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. Io precor Beatum Mariam sempre Virgine, Beatum Michaelem Arcangelo, Beatum Battiste, Sanctis Apostolos Petro et Paolo, omnes sanctis Dei Pater, ora pro mea Dominum Deum nostrum.
Miseriatur vestri omnipotens Deus, et dimissis peccatis vestris perducat vos ad vitam aeterna.
Amen.
Indulgentiam, absolutionem et remissione peccatorum nostrorum, tribuam nobis omnipotens et misericors Dominus.
Amen.
Deus tu conversus vivificaris nos. Ostende nobis Domini misericordiam tuam. Domine exaudi rationem meam. Dominus vobiscum. Oremus. Miserere mihi Domine quoniam a te clamabito da die, quia tu Domine suavis agmitis est, et copiosus in misericordia omnibus invocantibus te. Inclina Domine avem tuam mihi, et exaudi me quoniam inox et pauper sumevo. Gloria Patri et Filio Spiritui Sancto, sicut erat in principio, nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Miserere mihi Domine quoniam a te clamabito da die, quia tu Domine suavis ac mitis est, et copiosus in misericordia omnibus invocantibus te. Idi eleison, Idi eleison, Christe eleison, Idi eleison, Idi eleison. Gloria in excelsis Deo, et in terra pax omnibus bone voluntatis. Laudamus te, benedicimus te, adoramus te, glorificamus te. Gratias acimus tibi propter mane tuam, Domine Deus, Rex Celestis, Deus Pater Omnipotens, Domine Filii unigenitus Iesu Christe, Domine Deus, Agnus Dei, Filius Patris, qui tollis peccata mundi miserere nobis, qui tollis peccata mundi suscipe deprecatione nostra. Miseris ad exteram Patris, miserere nobis, Orient tu solus sanctus, tu solus Dominus, tu solus Altissimus Iesu Christe, cum Sancto Spiritu, in gloria Dei Patris. Amen. Dominus vobiscum,
et cum spiritu tuo.
oremus, tua nos quesumus Domine, gratia semper et preveniat et sequatur, ac bonis operibus iuciter prestet esse intentos, per Dominum nostrum, Iesum Christum, Filium Tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saecula.
Amen.
Oremus. Deus, qui per gloriosissimam Filii Tui Matrem, ad liberandos Christi fideles a potestate paganorum, nova ecclesiam Tuam prole amplificar dignatus est, presta quesumus, ut quam pie veredamur tanti operis institutricem, eius pariter meritis et intercessione, a peccatis omnibus et captivitate demonis liberemur. Per eundem Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum, Filium Tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Lectio Epistolae Beati Pauli Apostoli ad Efesios. Fratres, obsequio vos, ne deficiatis in tribulationibus meis, pro vobis que est gloria vestra. Uius Rei gratia flector genua mea al Patrem Domini nostri Iesu Christi, es quo omnis paternitas in celis et in terra nominati, ut et vobis secundum divitias gloriae sue, virtute corroborari per Spiritum eius interiore hominem, Christum habitare per fidem in cordibus vestris, in caritate radicati et fundati, ut possitis comprehendere cum omnibus sanctis, quersit latitudo et longitudo et sublimitas et profundum scide etiam super eminente scientiae caritate in Christi, ut impleamini in omnem plenitudinem Dei, ei autem qui potens est omnia facere superabundanter quam petimus aut intelligimus, secundum virtutem que operatur in nobis, ipsi gloria in Ecclesia et in Christo Iesu in omnibus in omnes generationes seculi saeculorum. Amen.
Deo gratias.
Imevum gentes momentum Domine, et omnes reges terre gloriam Tuam. Quoniam edificavit Dominus Sion, et videbitur in majestate suam. Alleluia, alleluia. Cantate Domino canticum novum, quia mirabilia fece Dominus. Alleluia. Dominus vobiscum, sequentia Sancti Evangelii secundum Lucam. In illo tempore cum intrare Iesus in domum cuiustam principis Phariseorum, sabbato manducare panem, et ipsi observabam Deum. Et ecce homo quidam hydropicus erat ante illum. Et respondens Iesus dixit ad legis peritos et Phariseos dicens, si licet sabbato curare, ad illi taquerunt. Ipse vero apprehensum sanavit eum ac dimisit, et respondens ad illos dixit, cuius vestrum asinus ab vos imputeos cadet, et non continuo extraet illum dies sabbati. non poterant adec respondere illi. Diceva autem et ad invitatos parabolam intendens, quomodo primos a cubitus elicerunt, dicens ad illos, cum invitatus fueris ad nuntias non discurbas in primo loco, nec forte honoratior te sit invitatus ab illo, et veniens eis qui te et illum invocabit dicativi da uit locum, et tunque incipias cum rumore novissimum locum tenere. Sed convocatus fueris vade recumbe in novissimo loco, ut cum venerite qui te invitavit dicativi amice ascende superius. Dunque tibi gloria coram simul disconventibus, quia omnis qui se exaltat humiliabitur, et qui se humiliat exaltabitur.
Laus tibi Christe.
Today is the 16th Sunday after Pentecost. We are still raising money to purchase and install those stained glasses for the church in Mount Vernon. There are, I think, 3 or 4 more to go if you would like to participate on this important event for our church. They are printed in the vestibule of the church. They should be arriving to be installed in about a month. Please stand for today's Holy Gospel, which is taken from the 14th chapter of St. Luke, verses 1 to 11. At that time, when Jesus went into the house of one of the chief of the Pharisees on the Sabbath day to eat bread, they watched him. And behold, there was a certain man before him that had a dropsy. And Jesus answering spoke to the lawyers and Pharisees, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day? But they held their peace. But he, taking him, healed him, and sent him away. And answering them, he said, Which of you shall have an ass or an ox fall into a pit, and will not immediately draw him out on the Sabbath day? And they could not answer him these things. And he spoke a parable also to them that were invited, marking how they chose the first seats in the table, saying to them, When thou art invited to a wedding, sit not down in the first place, lest perhaps one more honorable than thou be invited by him, and he that is invited thee and him come and say to thee, Give this man place. Then thou begin with shame to take the lowest place. But when thou art invited, go, sit down in the lowest place. And when he who invited thee cometh, he may say to thee, Friend, go up higher. Then shalt thou have glory before them that sit at table with thee. Because every one that exalteth himself shall be humbled, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. That's for the words of today's Holy Gospel. Please be seated. I We ask you also in your charity to pray for the sick of our parish. In particular, this week we have Willie Pablo, who was recovered to the hospital yesterday. And we all hope and pray that it's nothing serious. I think it's a heart problems. Also, Mrs. Darson is recovering from the back surgery, and she will be coming to Mass this coming Sunday. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Ghost, amen. We have in today's Gospel two parts. The first, which is concerned with the miracle of the dropsy man healed by our Lord. The second part of the Gospel is concerned with a correction that our blessed Lord addressed to the Pharisee, who interpreted wrongly, literally, the Sabbath, the precept of the Sabbath. Our Lord corrects this mentality, and so on this occasion we speak about correction, about fraternal correction, when, how the correction to our brother who mistakes or have some fault, sins, how should be done and how should be accepted. Fraternal correction is a work of mercy and consists in rebuking our neighbor through a motive of charity for his fault and sin. We're talking about a work of mercy. As you know, there are 14 works of mercy. There are 7 that are corporal, and 7 works of mercy that are spiritual. Just like the soul is more important than the body, so also the spiritual works of mercy are more important and more difficult than corporal works of mercy. And the reason is because while corporal works of mercy tend to the corporal good of our neighbor, to feed the hungry, to give drink to the thirsty, or to bury the dead, the spiritual works of mercy, however, tend to the good of the soul, which is the most important part of our neighbor. Therefore, they are more important and more difficult. Today we speak a lot about the corporal works of mercy, but we neglect the most important that are called spiritual works of mercy. Among these 7 spiritual works of mercy, we have the most important, the most difficult one, which is called fraternal correction. That is to say, correction of our neighbor who is wrong, who is giving some mistakes, who is sinning, who has some fault, through a motive of charity. And this is the first condition which must be present in order to be a true work of mercy, made out of charity. This comes from charity and therefore seeks the good of our neighbor. That correction which tends to humiliate the neighbor who is corrected is not good. Very often comes out of pride or anger. And therefore it does not have the purpose of the good of our neighbor. To know if your correction is a truly an act of charity, for instance, you should see if it is done with impatience or with indignation. If so, then it is not a correction, a fraternal correction. It should also be done with charity and respect, we hear a lot about respecting everyone. And here we have to clarify, because it is true that we have to respect. Just like we have to love, respect, and obey our parents and superior, because they represent God in our life, so also we should respect, love our neighbors, because they have, or they are an image of life, even the sinners. However, respect here, it doesn't mean that we have to approve or consent the neighbor's faults. That is not respect, it's just a fault. It's a false charity. So even with respect, sometimes we can correct our neighbor who is wrong, especially when they live a wrong and scandalous life. This correction should be given with humility, knowing that we are all sinners, and perhaps the one who corrects is even worse, or has worse faults and defects than the one who is corrected. So this humility will dominate our passion of anger and indignation when we have to give correction. Therefore, we should give it with gentle kindness in our words. Correction should be also given without excess. And this is an important thing, and it is difficult. Quite often, the one who corrects another is not patient enough to wait for the gradual correction of the fault concerned. You should always remember how much patient God is with you in your life. How many years, or maybe He has patiently waited for your conversion. And so when you correct somebody else, you should not expect an amendment happening at once. Sometimes we give time, we need to be patient, and therefore do not correct with excess. And fraternal correction is a medicinal correction. That is to say, when you see that your neighbor is corrected or is trying to correct himself, you should stop, and it's not needed anymore. When you do this correction, you are not supposed to make a list of all the sins and faults and all the defects in the past 15 years and remind him all these things. Just when it's corrected, you should forget and move on. Also, correction must be done at the right moment and by the right person. Because the true amendment of others, it will certainly depend very much on this factor. We should avoid two excesses. Those who always tend to correct others, they see faults and mistakes and shortcomings everywhere, all time, and this is an excess. This is our proportion very often. Or on the other side, those who are always trying to excuse others' faults. It happens about mothers talking about their children. They never see their faults and therefore the needs that the children have to improve. And these both excesses, if you want, They are both contrary to the virtue of charity, because you do not seek the true good of your neighbor. If you notice something which is certainly wrong in your neighbor, the first thing you have to do is to see if there is any remedy, or to tell the person who really can correct your neighbor. Sometimes in a congregation, in a community, there is somebody appointed in charge to correct others. So you should not take the place of correcting others if you are not in charge of doing this. You have to advise the authority that should remedy. Then we have to remind, when you do this correction, all the other qualities or requisites that we need to have in order to avoid to be taken by passion. And therefore we have to pray and wait for the right moment for the correction to be taken. Usually you should avoid correcting others in public unless it is necessary. If the fault is public, is scandalous, so should be the correction. Now, how correction should be received? It should be taken with humility and with gratitude. First of all, with humility, and this is difficult because when we are corrected, we feel hurt. And immediately, naturally, we tend to see all the defects that the person who corrects us. Oh, you are not supposed to tell me anything. You have done this and this and this and this and that. We try to justify ourselves. We think that we are being judged only by the evil we do, and the other person does not consider our good qualities, all the good we do. And this is normal, this is natural to feel hurt when we are corrected. This is what we all have, original sin, pride. And we should understand that this is natural, because nobody likes to be corrected, nobody likes to accept or acknowledge his own faults. Nobody likes the needle when the nurse comes. But we all understand once we are vaccinated or this medicine does good and we improve, we become healthier. So this is natural, we have to overcome, but there are some people who are so sensitive, hypersensitive. You cannot even mention indirectly any fault. They feel immediately concerned, and their life became all disturbed because somebody told them a little fault. So correction should be done, it should be received with humility. It will do good, just like that needle that contains the medicine to heal. And the first sign that you are taking it with humility is to keep a silence. God is correcting you, even if he is wrong, even if you are innocent, even if you don't need it, keep it silent. And then think about it. Take it into your heart. Maybe he is right. Maybe I should consider to correct this in my life, etc. This is the first disposition, the first when we receive a correction. The second disposition is we have to receive it with gratitude. Gratitude, first of all, to God, who has sent you an angel, somebody to correct it, to correct your fault. There was, I think, a Seneca. Seneca was a pagan philosopher. He used to say, if your friends don't tell you your fault, pay somebody to do this job. Be thankful to God who has sent you somebody with pointing out your fault. Be thankful also to the person who is doing it, because it is a work of mercy. And so the best way to be thankful is to accept it and correct yourself. There is an example in the life of Saint Arsenius. Saint Arsenius, we have talked about him last week. He was a monk, the 4th century, who spent many, many years in the desert, monk, doing penance and praying. This monk, Arsenius, was also from a wealthy family and very familiar to the court of the Emperor Theodosius, the 4th century, when the Roman Empire became Christian. He abandoned this life of luxury and comfort to retire and pray, to live with the monks in the desert. Now, the monks, from time to time, they used to gather to have spiritual conferences, and Arsenius, who was from a noble family, and therefore had different habits in his previous life, he used to attend these meetings being seated and crossing his legs in a comfortable posture, and that was taken as an immodest position and therefore had to be corrected. But nobody among the monks dared to correct Arsenius because of his high reputation. And therefore one of them came to talk to the pastor, the abbot pastor, in order to address this issue. And so the abbot says, okay, we are going to find a solution for this. The next meeting we will have, said the abbot, I will sit next to Arsenius, and I will also put myself the same posture, the same position. And when I will do this, you will come and correct me in public. So that happens, and Arsenius, who saw that the abbot was corrected, and he took it well, he corrected his posture, so he did correct himself, and from that day on, he never again crossed his legs when he was seated. Now this example, this fraternal correction, shows two things. The first thing is that correcting others is not easy, especially when you have to, when you do it for the true motive of charity. You yourself should practice this virtue, should give an example so as to give the right correction, the right moment. And secondly, this example shows that we should always take correction for ourselves, even when it's not done directly to us, even when it's done publicly to others, we should do it as Arsenius did, with simplicity and humility. Every time you hear about correction, think not of all the others who are around you, but think of yourself. This is the way we are going to improve in a spiritual life. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Credo in un Deum Patrem omnipotente, factore in celi et terre, visibilium omnium et invisibilium, in Dominum Iesum Christum, Filium Dei Unigenitum et ex Patronatum ante omnia saecula, Deum de Deo lumen de lumine, Deum velum de Deo verum. Genitum factum consubstantialem Patri prequel omnia facta sunt, qui propter nos homines et propter nostram salutem descedi de celis. Et incarnatus est, et Spiritus Sanctus Maria Virgine, et Domo Factus est, crucifixus et sia pro nobis sub Pontio Pilato, passus et sepultus est, et resurrexit tertia die secundum Scripturas, et ascendit in caelus et ad exterram Patris, et iterum venturus est cum gloria, judicare vivos et mortuos, uius reina de Spiritus, et in Spiritus Sanctum, Dominum et vivificantem, qui ex Patre Filioque proceri, qui cum Padre et Filio simul adoratur et glorificatur, qui locutus est per prophetas. Et unam sanctam catholicam et apostolicam ecclesiam confiterum baptisma in remissione peccatorum, et spirito resurrectionem mortuorum et vitam venturis saeculum. Amen. Dominum vobiscum,
et cum spiritu tuo.
oremus. Domini auxilium meum respice confundatur et revereantur, qui querunt animam meam, ut auferam team Domine in auxilium meum respice. per omnia saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Dominus vobiscum,
Et cum spiritu tuo.
suscribirsque.
Amen. Domino.
Gratias agamus Domino Deo nostro.
Dignum et justum est.
Vel dignum et justum est, ecum et salutare nostri Vicente et tu due gratias face. Domine Sancte Pater Omnipotens et Deus, qui cum unigento Filio Tuo et Spiritus Sancto, unus est Deus, unus est Dominus, non in unio singularitate persone, sed in unio trinitate substantiae. Quod enim de Tua gloria revelante te credimus, od de Filio Tuo, od de Spiritus Sancto, sine differentia discretionis sentimus. Ut in confessione vere sempiterneque Deitatis, et in personis proprietas et in essentia unitas, et in majestate adoretore qualitas. Quam laudant angeli, atque arcangeli, cherubim quoque ac seraphim, qui non cessant clamare quotidie una voce dicendo: Sanctus. Per omnia secula seculorum, volemus precepti salutare responiti e divina istituzione formate per nos in cielo. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificet nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Pane nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et nos inducas in tentationem,
sed libera nos a malo.
Per omnia secula seculorum, paz Domini, sit semper vobiscum, et spiritu tuo. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi, miserere nobis. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi, miserere nobis. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi, dona nobis pacem.
Sacra Virgin, beata Michaela Angelo, beata Iona Baptista, Sanctis Apostolus Petro Paulum, omnibus sanctis et tibi pater, quid peccavium nis cogitationem et verbo opere, et quid mea culpa, Dio pretor beata Maria Sacra Virgin, beata Michaela Angelo, beata Iona Baptista, Sanctis Apostolus Petro Paulum, omnibus sanctis et tibi pater, ora pro mea Domini Deus.
Misericator vestri, omnipotent Deus, dimissis peccatis vestris, perducados ad vitam aeternam.
Amen.
Indulgentiam, absolutionem et remissionem peccatorum vestrorum, tributus omnipotens et misericors Dominus.
Amen.
Ecce agnus Dei, ecce qui tollit peccata mundi, Dominus Dominus dicere est tectum meum, se tantum dic verbo sanabitur anima mea, Dominus Dominus dicere est tectum meum, se tantum dic verbo sanabitur anima mea, Dominus Dominus dicere est tectum meum, se tantum dic verbo sanabitur anima mea. Domine memorabor justitiae Tue solius, Deus locuisti mea juventute mea, Deusque in senectam et senium Deus ne derelinquas meum. Dominus vobiscum.
Et spiritu tuo.
Oremus. Purifica quesumus Domine mentes nostras benignus, et renova celestibus sacramentis, ut consequente et corporum presens parite, et futurum copiamus auxilium. Per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum, Filium Tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Oremus, Sanctis Domine, salutis notis subsidiis, da sumus Beate Maria semper Virginis patrocinis, nos ubique protegi, in cuius veneratione tecum urimus maiestati, Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum, Fium Tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Dominus vobiscum,
et cum spiritus tuo,
ite missa est,
Deo gratias.
benedicat vos omnipotens Deus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen. Dominus vobiscum,
Et cum spiritus tuo,
sequentia Sancti Evangelii secundum Lucam.
Gloria fide Domine.
In illo tempore loquente Iesu a turbas extolit vocem quedam muriere turba dixit illi, Beatus venter qui portavit et uberaque subsisti. At ille dixit, qui nimmo neati qui andium verbum Dei et custodium dilude. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Hail, Holy Queen,
Mother of mercy, our life, our sweetness, and our hope, to thee we cry, for banished children of Eve. To thee we send up our sighs, mourning and weeping in this valley of tears. Turn then, most gracious Advocate, thine eyes of mercy towards us, and after this our exile, show unto us the blessed fruit of thy womb, Jesus. O clement, O loving, O sweet Virgin Mary,
pray for us. O Holy Mother of God,
that we may be made worthy of the promise of Christ.
let us pray, O God, O refuge and our strength, look down with favor upon the people who cry to thee. And through the intercession of the glorious Immaculate Virgin Mary, Mother of God, her spouse, blessed Joseph, like holy apostles Peter and Paul, and the saints, mercifully and graciously hear the prayers which you put forth to thee, for the conversion of sinners, and for the liberty and exaltation of Holy Mother of Church, through the same Christ our Lord. Amen. Saint Michael, the Archangel,
Defend us in battle. Be our defense against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him under ground. Into thou, Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all evil spirits, who prowl about the world seeking the ruin of souls.
Most Sacred Heart of Jesus,
Have mercy on us.
Most Sacred Heart of Jesus,
Have mercy on us.
Most Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Have mercy on us.